It's winter in October. Snow has already blanketed parts of New England, the Midwest, and even North Carolina.
And I got to tell you, this early winter weather has some people asking, what happened to global warming? Remember everyone was talking about global warming?
Remember that. And it looks like it may be the sea, it may be the sun, but it didn't necessarily your SUV. Well, anyhow, here's
reporter John Jessup.
All right, go for it. All right.
It's less than a month into fall, and in some places across the country, winter has already arrived. Over the weekend, players and fans were caught off guard with all of this snow. But it didn't stop the New England Patriots from shutting out the Tennessee Titans 59-0 on the slippery field of Gillette Stadium. While many Americans are thinking about carving pumpkins, residents of New England have been shoveling snow.
This is plain ice. Yeah, no.
They got another taste of wintry weather with the second nor'easter to hit in 3 days, catching some by surprise.
I think this is the earliest I've ever seen snow in all my years.
While others take it in stride.
I'm from Colorado, and we have snow in September. So this is kind of makes me feel like home.
If you listen to the Farmer's Almanac, it's going to be a cold winter. So this just tells us it's beginning.
AccuWeather warns residents in Philadelphia to be prepared for the coldest winter in years, with as much as 30 inches of snow. And the weather headlines don't stop there. Cold rains have triggered mudslides in California and flooding in Texas, leading some to focus on the weather phenomenon known as El Nino.
Just to dwell on this El Nino is not the way to go here. You've had a certain situation in the Pacific that's been going on. This has been leading to cooling in general across the northern hemisphere, and now we're seeing the ingredients there to try to bring the cold further east this upcoming winter.
Talk of all the cold has led some to speculate about global warming. Last week, a BBC News article asked what happened to global warming, pointing out that the warmest year on record wasn't 2008 or 2007, rather 1998. The article also raised questions about whether the sun or ocean cycles may actually be what's responsible for global cycles of heating and cooling. Now, those questions may not be answered for some time, but for now, many Americans have a more immediate concern.
It never fails. It'll snow early, and we'll still receive snow in April. I believe it. I mean, and they say it's going to be a light winter. I doubt it.
John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
Well, if you saw the Patriots playing football yesterday, you saw lots and lots of snow on the field. My goodness.
Well, I didn't watch it. Why? Because I was sleeping. There's something about this cold weather just makes you, you turn up the heat, you snuggle up in a blanket, you have your hot tea. I'm happy.
Well, you set a blazing fire in the fireplace.
Yeah.
I made one this morning so my wife could enjoy it.
Look how nice you are.
I'm so nice. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just have to look and see. But in the meantime, we've got cap and trade. We've got all this stuff going on. The Congress is frantic to get legislation passed to cap emissions, and they may be barking up the wrong tree. George Thomas has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. George.
Thank you, Pat. Hello, everyone. The White House is standing by its view that Fox News is not news, but a Republican mouthpiece. White House Communications Director Anita Dunn said a week ago that the administration would treat Fox News, quote, as an opponent, and that Fox was not a legitimate news organization. And Sunday, White House senior advisor David Axelrod stood by that statement.
The only argument Anita was making is that they're not really a news station. If you watch even, it's not just their commentators, but a lot of their news programming. It's really not news. It's pushing a point of view.
But Axelrod added that the administration officials will still appear on Fox. Fox says it is open to discussion with the White House. Pat, is this a good idea for the White House to go after Fox News?
Are you kidding? For a political organization to attack a news source is just insane. People don't like that. The members of the media don't like it. It's just not, it's not American. A free and open press, even if it's critical, is essential to our democracy and our way of life. And if Fox has a point of view, let's face it, the point of view of the rest of it has been predominantly liberal, and I have faced it for years and years and years. And don't make any excuses of the fact that the mainstream media, so-called, is predominantly left-wing, and it espouses left-wing Democratic points of view. you look at the giving patterns of the officials and the staff and the news reporters of these various organizations, see who they give to. And it tells you pretty much where their predilections are, and it isn't necessarily for fair and balanced. But somebody comes out and he's conservative, and all of a sudden he's not a news organization, he's a mouthpiece. Well, we need a few more mouthpieces like that, George.
Pat, Colorado investigators want to question an associate of Richard Heaney's after emails surfaced showing he had talked about a balloon hoax months ago as part of a public relations campaign for a reality television show. After the Heaney family told law enforcement that their 6-year-old son was trapped in this runaway balloon, a nationally televised rescue effort began. Eventually, the boy was found hiding in the family's attic.
They put on a very good show for us, and we bought it. It was a great success, but these people are looking at some serious consequences now.
I went through such a roller coaster of emotions. To have people say that, I think is extremely pathetic.
The Larimer County Sheriff says he's seeking felony charges against Richard and Mayumi Heaney. The Attorney General in Maine says the state's gay marriage law will not affect curriculum in the public schools. But gay marriage opponents are disputing that. In a recent opinion, Attorney General Janet Mills wrote the state's definition of marriage has no bearing on the curricula for public schools, but the Stand for Marriage campaign counters that there's nothing in the law to prevent same-sex marriage from being taught, and it notes that gay marriage has already been taught in Massachusetts, where it is legal. Maine voters will decide next month whether to veto the state's new law legalizing same-sex marriage. Well, the federal deficit for 2009 has set a record, $1.42 trillion. That's more than the total national debt for the first 200 years of the United States. It's more than the entire economy of India and almost as much as Canada's. And it's more than $4,700 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. It's nearly 3 times as much as the previous record of $459 billion, and that was just last year. Kenneth Rogoff, a Harvard professor and former chief economist of the International Monetary Fund, says the rudderless U.S. fiscal policy is the biggest long-term risk to the U.S. economy. As we accumulate more and more debt, we leave ourselves very vulnerable. Pat, how are we going to pay for all this debt?
You know, we aren't. That's what worries me. How can we pay off $47,000 per person? How can we pay off $140,000 or $50,000 per person? How can we pay off these trillions of dollars? We don't know how. If they exceed the amount of money that we take in by this amount, they're out of control. And somebody somewhere has got to say no. But this is the most wasteful administration in the history of America.
53 House Republicans are urging President Obama to fire Safe School czar Kevin Jennings. The House Republicans sent a letter to the president calling Jennings unfit to serve and asking for his immediate removal. They noted concerns over his homosexual agenda and an incident during his days as a school teacher when he didn't report a young student who was sexually involved with a grown man. The letter to President Obama reads, Kevin Jennings cannot gain the approval of parents who want their children safe and their schools drug-free. You should replace him with someone who has a record of educating children in a safe and moral environment. 5 Muslim men could serve life sentences in Australia. A jury has convicted them of plotting the country's largest terrorist conspiracy. The men were stockpiling bomb-making instructions and buying explosive chemicals and guns. Their goal was to force Australia's government to change its policy on the Middle East. The raids also turned up militant Islamist material, including footage of planes flying into the World Trade Center on September 11th. The sentencing hearing is set for December 14th. As always, you can get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbn.com.